My name is Shawn Jenkins, and I'm currently a student in the graduate program. And this is my presentation. My thesis project from the very beginning has been to investigate Tacoma's Hilltop neighborhood, and not just the neighborhood, but the history of its Black residents. Yet I feel there needs to be an explanation of how I came to this point. I became interested in the Hilltop neighborhood as a child. My Uncle James Womack was a director of the Al Davies Boys and Girls Club, and as a child, that's where we spent a lot of our time, socializing, meeting new friends, and if you were a child on the Hilltop in the 80s, this was one of the places you would go. Years later, while pursuing my bachelor's degree, Dr. Linda Isham assigned a class project. We were asked to choose a local community, research and present a history on that local community. And of course, I chose the Hilltop because I considered it to be a place that I possessed some knowledge about. However, as I continued to explore this locality, what I assumed had always been a predominantly Black neighborhood was actually not. This led me to contemplate and ask the question, how does a neighborhood categorized as historically Black have so little information about those residents? As I continued to investigate, this is the public knowledge I collected. The Hilltop derives its name from its location on a high bluff overlooking Commencement Bay in the Port of Tacoma. Its boundaries consist of Division Ave in the north, 25th Street in the south, Yakima Ave in the east, and Sprague Avenue in the west. It has been home to thousands of international immigrants and domestic migrants over the last century. It is one of the first neighborhoods, as well as one of the oldest, recognized by the National and Tacoma Registry of Historic Places. Quick searches into Tacoma or Washington State history will reveal numerous accounts of Native Americans, Scandinavians, Irish, Prussian, all who have lived here and made significant contributions to the greater community. This is the public story that is told to us, but the private story missing is that of Black Americans. In many instances, their history has been excluded, inaccurately documented, or not mentioned at all. The problematic aspect when researching Blacks of this locality is that most of the public history is either tied to the South, civil rights, or the Great Migration. There is substantially less research about those Blacks who migrated to the West or were here before the turn of the 20th century. My research, what my master's thesis accomplishes, adding private lives of Black Americans to the public history of the Hilltop. My research examines the Hilltop beginning post-World War II to the present from the perspective of key informants in conjunction with archival material. This adds a new viewpoint concerning the history of the neighborhood by including Black residents along with their knowledge of the social, economic, and political events that have helped shape this neighborhood. At the same time, I contribute a deeper understanding of the Black experience in this historic neighborhood. My approach to the telling of this story involves documenting the lives and personal experiences through oral history interviews. I will also highlight key themes or reoccurring topics that were presented by my narrators. The identified themes were, all my narrators were from the South, dealt with segregation, employment, and discrimination, racism, and gang violence. The 4 oral history narrators I have the honor of introducing in my research are Sam Daniels, born in Henderson, Texas, came to Tacoma in 1950 with his wife and 2 children, one half owner of Sam and Terry's restaurant, or Sam and Terry's barbershop, and considered a staple in the Black community. Betty Mewborn, born in Houston, Texas, moved to Tacoma in 1968 at the age of 9, has been living on the Hilltop for over 40 years. Mewborn is a founder and active participant of cancer advocacy program for African Americans and people of color located on the Hilltop. Kitty Scott, born in Carbon Hill, Alabama, is the wife of LaRae Scott, original founder of Scott's Funeral Home. The Scott's Funeral Home has been in the area for 48 years and is one of the last old businesses left. Mary Doss, born in Brookville, Mississippi. She originally came to Tacoma in 1969, an active member of Shiloh Baptist Church and a mother of 8 and a resident of the Hilltop of over 40 years. Their private stories will help me to explain what some Black residents of the Hilltop have experienced or endured living in this locality, thus making their private lives public knowledge. Thank you.